Hi, Young Fo. Congratulations on winning the 2023 Multilingual Book Award from I'm Your Neighbor Books. So, tell us about the language. As an illustrator and animator, how did you choose to depict the feeling of being surrounded by an unfamiliar language?
That's a great question. One of my original ideas actually for that was having regular English words like, blah, 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 waka, waka, bang, pow, like words like that you could recognize and use that as a substitute for the unfamiliar words that I was hearing. But then I decided to even push it farther and make it really unfamiliar, like maybe using symbols, and I wound up creating all these different symbols that represented letters to write out what the character was hearing. So eventually it evolved to me actually creating my own alphabet in Gibberish. So for readers that don't know, the Gibberish symbols that you see it's actual words that are there. And you can actually decipher those symbols and they actually become words that you can actually read if you decipher it. So everything that the teacher says and everything that's written in the world with those gibberish symbols are actually actual words. And you can actually take the time, you can decipher what they're saying. So that's how I kind of came up with the idea of the unfamiliar language that was surrounding my main character, Dad. Yeah, so that's how I kind of came up with it. I hope people enjoy it.
So, how were you as a visual learner? Okay, because I see that in your book and everything. And this last one is what I love. I am done with English.
That's a really, really good question. I'm definitely a visual learner. I learn things by seeing way easier than I do by reading or doing things tactilely. Another thing is that I have dyslexia. So one of the things that I was struggling reading in the beginning because I couldn't connect the letters with the sounds and the words. They're all kind of jumbled. It kind of was scrambled a little bit for me from hearing it to seeing it. So what I wound up doing was basically memorizing words, and every time I learn a new word, I'll just memorize the actual shape of it. And that's how I initially learned to read. And usually if fonts were really squirrely, and so that was really hard for me to kind of decipher. But once I memorized the word, I could actually read. But it was a slow process though. I still read slow, but it's much easier. So that just shows you how visual I was. I just memorized symbols and so that. So yeah, that was pretty much part of how I learned. And that also kind of makes sense in terms of how I became an artist, because visual came really easy to me. Drawing was quite easy. So yeah, I'm definitely a visual learner.
What do you hope English speakers learn about multilingual students?
Multilingual students are just like you. They're struggling with something new that they're experiencing. Like you, when you struggle with something new, it was a little difficult, and it was probably confusing for you. It seemed strange and awkward because we've all experienced going to someplace new, right? We all been to maybe a new restaurant, a new town, a new sport you're playing. Everything is a little different and new. You're not quite sure how to do it. You're a little confused, and that's kind of how a little bit of the feeling of what a multilingual student is going through, learning a new language. So know that what they're feeling is something that you have felt yourself, and hopefully you remember that and kind of reach out and talk to that student and help them through the confusion, because it definitely helps when somebody else can relate to the struggle, right? So yeah, I think that's what I hope that English speakers learn. That basically multilingual students are just like you, just learning something new.
As an ESOL teacher, I'm wondering, how did you intend this book to be used by new English learners? Because I have a lot. 34 only in second grade. That's all mine.
For me, what I hope for new English learners is that you're not alone. that the struggle that you're going through is very normal. It can be tough for some more than others, but it's a very normal thing that you're going through, and that at the end of the struggle, it is worth it. I am a perfect example of that because I gone through that, and I was able to make friends that helped me along the way. I was able to write this book to express what I was feeling, and I am able to talk to you now. I mean, you can hear me speak English, and that is worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it because you're gonna make a lot of friends along the way, and your world is gonna open up a little more and more and more until everything feels normal and feels like home. And it's very natural what you're going through. So know that I went through that, and the reason that I wrote this book is because I did go through this, and that in a lot of ways was me. As I was learning English and how I felt when I was going through it. And hopefully you can see yourself there, and also see yourself at the end of the book too, where you're making friends and you're able to understand things a lot easier. So that's my hope. And yeah, and I just want to say thank you to I'm Your Neighbor Books for having me, and thank you all, and I hope you enjoy Gibberish.
Thank you, Young Vo, for creating a book where our multilingual learners can see themselves. And again, congratulations on winning an I'm Your Neighbor Book Award.